All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're looking at something a little different. We've been doing a lot of deep dives on uh, different companies, different trends in the economy, and this one is going to be a little more focused on, I guess you could say, a lifestyle or a specific location, and that is Grove, Oklahoma.
Okay.
So Grove, Oklahoma on Grand Lake, beautiful area, beautiful lake, big lake actually. And we're going to be looking specifically at real estate in Grove, Oklahoma.
All right.
Now, the reason we're doing this is we've got a great source for this deep dive, and that is local realtor Robert Smiley. He's been working in real estate in the Grove area for quite a while, so he's got a lot of great insights to share. So what we're going to do is look at, what are the trends, what is the market like right now in Grove, Oklahoma as of March 17th, 2025.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about, what makes Grove so appealing, what's driving the real estate market there. Is there investment potential? So let's jump right in. And I'm curious right off the bat. Robert Smiley tells us that as of today, March 17th, 2025, Grove is considered a buyer's market.
Okay.
Now, for those of us who aren't, real estate experts or don't follow the market super closely, what does that mean?
Well, a buyer's market generally means that there's more inventory than buyers.
Okay.
So there are more people looking to sell their homes than there are people looking to buy a home.
Okay.
So that shifts the power dynamic a little bit. It gives buyers a little bit more leverage.
I see.
And usually what happens is you start to see things like prices coming down a little bit.
Right.
Sellers might be a little more willing to negotiate.
Yeah.
They might be more willing to offer things like seller financing or other incentives to try to entice a buyer to
make that sale.
Yeah. So that's generally what a buyer's market is all about.
So looking at Grove specifically then,
Yeah.
Robert Smiley's insights tell us that the median home price currently sits somewhere between $280,000 and $300,000. Now, that is down slightly from last year.
Interesting.
So that seems to support the idea that it's currently a buyer's market.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely supports that idea. It's worth looking into why that might be.
Yeah.
Is it just, a little bit of a cyclical thing, or are there some other factors at play there? Is there new construction maybe coming on the market that's increasing inventory?
Right.
Are there other demographic shifts happening?
Yeah.
These are all things that you'd want to kind of dig into if you were really interested in investing in that market.
And then also just to add to that, we see that homes are staying on the market a little bit longer.
Oh.
In Groves, it's averaging about 81 days.
Yeah.
Right now, which again kind of lends itself to that idea that buyers have a little more time to look around.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not having to rush into a decision. They're not, competing with, 10 other offers on the same house. They can take their time, do their due diligence, and make sure that they're finding the right property.
So when we're thinking about, seasonality of the market, obviously Grove is right there on Grand Lake.
Right.
I'm assuming that plays a pretty big role in when things heat up.
Oh, absolutely.
And when things cool down.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, spring and summer.
Yeah.
Those are the peak seasons in Groves. When the weather's nice, people are flocking to the lake for boating, for water sports, just to enjoy the beauty of the lake. And so naturally, that's going to drive up demand for real estate as well.
And prices.
Yeah. You're going to see prices a little bit higher during those peak seasons. But that also means that if you're a savvy buyer, you might consider looking in the fall or the winter when things cool down a little bit, the competition lessens, and you might be able to snag a deal.
So let's move on then from just the hard numbers and talk a little bit about what makes Grove so appealing.
Yeah.
Robert Smiley really paints this picture of a cozy, small-town atmosphere.
Yeah.
With diners and boutique shops and that laid-back vibe. But he also mentions that the population can sometimes triple during the summer.
Wow.
So that seems like a pretty stark contrast,
It is. And that's kind of part of the unique character of Groves.
Okay.
You get that close-knit community feel
Yeah.
during the off-season, but then you also get that energy and excitement of a popular vacation destination during those peak summer months. So it's this interesting mix
Right.
that really appeals to a lot of different types of buyers. You've got families that are looking for a peaceful retreat. They want to get away from the hustle and bustle of city life.
Yeah.
You've got retirees who are seeking that laid-back lifestyle. And then you've got investors who are seeing the potential for, short-term rentals
Okay.
to cater to that summer crowd.
So it sounds like Grand Lake really is the crown jewel of groves.
Okay. It absolutely is. It's not just a pretty body of water. It's a huge economic driver for the area.
And speaking of Grand Lake,
Yeah.
Robert Smiley mentions it's a haven for bass fishing.
Oh, yeah. World-class bass fishing. People come from all over to fish in Grand Lake.
And you've also got, waterfront resorts like Shangri-La
Absolutely.
that are attracting tourists and driving that local economy. So, you're not just buying a house, you're buying into
Yeah.
this whole Grand Lake experience.
Exactly.
Now, is there anything we should be aware of, that maybe Robert Smiley didn't mention any downsides?
That's a good question. And, it's always important to look beyond the hype.
Yeah.
While the tourism boom is great for the local economy, some people argue that it's not sustainable in the long run. You have to think about things like infrastructure.
Yeah.
Can the infrastructure support that many people coming in every year? What about the environmental impact? Is that level of tourism going to have a negative impact on the lake itself? And then you also have to think about the fact that, if the economy is so heavily reliant on tourism, what happens if there's a downturn in the economy?
Right.
What happens if people aren't traveling as much? So those are just some things to keep in mind as you're doing your research and weighing the pros and cons.
So let's wrap things up here then.
Sure.
We've got this buyer's market. We've got the beautiful Grand Lake. What's the bottom line here? Why should someone consider investing in Grove, Oklahoma right now?
Well, I think, as we've discussed, the current market dynamics definitely favor buyers. So you could potentially find some great deals, negotiate favorable terms on a property. And let's not forget the year-round appeal of Grand Lake.
Right.
Yes, summer is the busy season, but the lake is still beautiful in the fall and the winter, and it's a lot more peaceful.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a more tranquil experience, that might be the time to go.
So it sounds like what you're saying is it's not just about the numbers.
Right.
It's about the bigger picture.
Exactly. Do your research, weigh the pros and cons, but also envision what your life could look like in Grove.
Yeah.
Is this the peaceful retreat that you've always dreamed of? Is it a savvy investment opportunity? Or maybe it's a little bit of both.
All right. So there you have it. Grove, Oklahoma, a town with that unique blend of small-town charm and access to the truly Grand Lake. We've looked at market trends. We've looked at lifestyle. We've considered some downsides. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. If you were standing on the shores of Grand Lake, what would your grand life entail?
That's a good question.
Yeah, something to think about. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.